is going on, everybody? Welcome in to the North End Podcast, episode 56. My name is Zach Graham, your host here on the North End Podcast. Feeling kind of silver and black vibes this week, but also some very strong Verde vibes. I love the look from my co-host. His name is Ian Me Show. We call him E, a.k.a. Lee James, a.k.a. Sebastian Drew, EC, a.k.a. Estradamus, a.k.a. Pap E, O'Daniel, a.k.a. The Fashionista, a.k.a. Chili Willie, a.k.a. Eon, Stockel, E, maybe the best sports week in the last 5-6 years for me, maybe longer. How are you feeling on this Thursday afternoon?
It's been going good for you, for sure. I feel great. I'm ready to dunk on some haters today.
Yeah, I think some people need to be dunked, I think.
Not
anybody specifically, but just kind of factions of the fan base, the non-believers. Right?
Yeah. When the
miserable fucks.
Yeah, come on.
As it were.
Yeah.
So we'll certainly get into all that. We'll recap Austin FC's midweek road victory over the Seattle Sounders. We will preview Saturday's match at Q2 against Toronto FC. Some big, expensive names coming to town on that roster. We will preview tomorrow night's match, Friday night, San Jose Earthquakes 2 coming to town to take on Austin FC 2. We will take a quick look around the league, around MLS, and then we will recap the Week 13 betting picks and give another best ball update. But, let's start at the top. Just give me 30 seconds on this, right? Like, come on. What a 24 hours for your boy.
Yeah.
Wembanyama here. Like, look, if you hear us talking, you occasionally hear the official North End puppy dogs, Mooch and Wemby. Wemby, short for Wembanyama.
Mm-hmm.
And my favorite team winning the rights to draft Victor Wembanyama. If you have not heard of this man, this 19-year-old Frenchman, you're going to hear soon. Go look up some highlights if you've never watched this man coming to Central Texas. I think we're going to be going to some games next year.
I can't wait to see him. I mean, for those people who haven't seen him, you will see things you've never seen before.
Yeah.
On a basketball court. Definitely. It's tough for me. I was going to have so much material to just roast you with. I was going to call your dog Scoot or Brandon Miller. I'm a bit conflicted, but obviously quite happy for you. I don't think he could have ended up at a better place. We're a long ways away from his career being done, but he is set up for great success right now. And that's usually not the case with a talent such as him. Usually go to a dumpster fire of a team.
Sure.
But I can't wait to see him play. And obviously last night, a little Wemby magic. We'll take it.
Yeah, maybe rubbing off on Austin FC last night. Who knows?
Maybe.
It would be irresponsible of me to say that will end our basketball talk the rest of this episode, because we do work in the references as we go, but we'll try to put that in the past. But I will be giddy throughout, not just because of the luck of that I'm having with my basketball fandom this week, and I know lots of other Los Verdes members causing quite a stir in the Slack on Tuesday night, but a great Wednesday night for Austin FC. So let's jump into the recap of the Seattle match. And even before we get to the lineup and our reactions on that, the injury report was really the first kind of point of contention yesterday leading into this match, when we saw, Julio Cascante is out tonight in the concussion protocol. And I think maybe both of us have some things to add there. So I guess I'll toss it to you. What are your thoughts on him being placed in the concussion protocol after playing the rest of the match on Saturday? Took a little bit of a bump to the noggin. Mm-hmm. Third minute, he and Jose Martinez colliding there in the south end. What were your thoughts on that? I guess because I'll set the table a little bit, right?
Yeah.
It was a large contingent of the fan base in multiple, one of your favorite terms here, multiple mediums, talking about, or I guess immediately jumping to the conclusion that the athletic trainers had done something wrong, either hadn't done their job or there was some conspiracy that they didn't really check him out. What were your thoughts seeing him pop up on the injury report there? Where did your mind go?
I mean, I was just disappointed. I wasn't going to be like, well, everyone's going to be like, well, not everyone, but there's going to be a large portion of people who are saying that this is some sort of conspiracy and our doctors are stupid and we have to fire our trainings. That never even crossed my mind because it's like, it's a concussion. Like, they are pretty unique in how they can affect you. As someone who has had multiple concussions,
yeah,
they're definitely not fun. And the aftermath from the initial hit is usually a bit worse as it goes on for the first, like 3 days or so. That at least has been my experience.
Your experience, yeah.
So I was just really disappointed because it's like, damn, we just got him back. We are realizing how much of an impact he makes on this team, like really, really seeing it after having been without it for so long. So I was just really disappointed and obviously concerned for him and, believed the injury report that he had a concussion and he was just in the protocol. Yeah. Not everything's a conspiracy. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if we've heard of Occam's razor here in Austin, but more often than not, it's, the simplest, reasoning. And yeah, I was just bummed for him because he was just getting back and ready to go. And that's where I was at.
Yeah. Well, I think, my mind jumps to my personal experience working with college athletes and college training staffs. And those people, all of the trainers that I worked with at multiple universities were extremely dedicated to their craft and their career and literally dedicate their lives to doing everything by the book, best assessments possible, best treatments possible. And it is possible. And I guess this is just my opinion, but it is possible that, yes, the science on traumatic brain injuries is evolving quickly over the last decade or so. Mm-hmm. And, the way we react to that science and we apply it to especially our high level athletes, like that is changing. But at the same time, just because it just seemed like to me that some people are so worried about Julio's head injury that I got to a point in some conversations where it was just like, okay, either we just can't play soccer because people use their heads, mm-hmm. or we use the best science and assessment and treatment that we have at our disposal, which is by all accounts what we do, not just at Austin, but across MLS. And look, you could bring up a Tua Tagovailoa example. Mm-hmm. Of where, that is clearly the recency bias example of where a situation with multiple traumatic brain injuries was not handled correctly. Well, guess what? That independent doctor got fucking fired.
Yeah.
So they are double, triple checking this type of stuff.
Oh yeah.
And again, a simple Google search will tell you that yes, concussion symptoms frequently develop hours or even days after the initial hit. And I saw a lot of people too is from my view in the stands, he looked like he lost consciousness. Oh, okay, that's great. Your view from the stands is not look, there are so many camera angles. They absolutely have footage of not just him going down, but the trainers interacting with him mm-hmm. during that entire exchange. I guarantee everybody that they are dotting the I's, crossing the T's, whatever you want to say. I guess I didn't think we would have to move into a full-throated defense of our athletic training staff and the performance staff, but here we are. If you can't, you can't bitch about the head coach, and then you can't bitch about the performance staff, then we go after the athletic trainers. I don't know. But again, I think both of us would agree that the book, right, on these brain injuries, these head injuries, concussions is not completely written yet.
No, It won't be. And especially now I just saw recently that 4 ex-soccer players have CTE stuff now, and they're trying to do more things to handle this stuff properly. And I'm not a doctor, but when you see the training staff on there, they're flashlighting his eyes, they're giving him the eye test and everything. They're making sure he knows where he is, can say his name, where, all these things. And that's what you can really do, because you can't, it's not like he has an open wound on his leg and you can just be like, well, there it is. Yeah. So I'm with you there. We did everything that was right. It just, he probably had symptoms, and you know what? They could be very light, but you take the precautionary route with a head injury in the busiest month that we have as a team coming up here. So rest up, Julio. Hope he's back ready to go Saturday. And yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah. Let's talk about that lineup. Obviously, no Julio Cascante, like you said, was a bummer, but hopefully, I heard whispers that he was doing some activity in training before this Seattle match. So it could be that, diagnosed with a concussion, but progressing through the protocol quickly and in the part of that return to play protocol where he's doing that individual non-contact work on the side. And that would be a great sign for his availability, not just potentially for Saturday, but, the Open Cup match coming up next week. But the players we did have, I guess we had news earlier in the day, right, where David Rodriguez became the first Austin FCito player to get a short-term affiliate loan agreement with the club. So off the top of my head, I'm not going to go Google search the actual terms here, but I believe what those are is contract up to 4 days. So technically he could be available for Saturday's match, but with Rodney coming back, I think we see David probably playing on Friday at the pitch.
Yeah.
So it could have been up to 4 days, and throughout the season, any of the players who come on these short-term agreements can make the bench up to 4 times. So one used there for David, and appear in a match, a league match, twice. So 3 bench appearances left and 2 potential on-field appearances left for David, because he did make the bench but did not play last night. We saw I think we kind of saw the first choice, especially with Redis and the other absences that we have in this one. I think we saw a first choice starting 11 here. Stuver in net. You had Leo, Ring, and Rado getting his first start as that, that 3-back set there, the wing backs in Gallagher and Lundqvist. You had Johan and Danny in the defensive midfield there, and then Rigoni and Finlay getting the start for Redis with Gyasi up top. Diego on the bench again for the second consecutive game. Hector Jimenez, Nick Lima, Sophie Jeffel, Kip Keller making his second appearance on the bench in the last 3 matches. Will Bruin, lone striker, and then CJ Fodry on the bench for the first time. So you do love to see that as well. And remember, he's on a first-team deal, so no short-term loan agreement required there. What were your thoughts on the starting 11 heading into the match?
It was what we had available, and we made the most of it, and this was a great team effort. Lundqvist has just continuously impressed me over these last couple weeks. He looked great again last night. He's looking like he's really comfortable in that position, and it's just looking like he's just flat out better than Kamanic. I know
at least for this role, right?
Yes, for this role. For this particular role that we are now playing, this style that we are now playing, I am glad that we have Lundqvist there. Rado, man, he's got some nasty to him.
Yeah.
We like that. We need that. He's got a little edge to him. He's Serbian?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, yeah. So, he's been certified. He's stamped. Yeah.
Got the neck tattoo and everything.
Yeah.
Serbian.
Couple hard fouls, good takes, good fouls. Let him know that we're here, and I was really impressed with his performance. Really just impressed with everyone's performance. On the unlocking of Rigoni is still taking place on that left side. He has really come into his own even more. To see Finlay on that right side was great, man. And it was out of necessity because I probably think Rodney gets the start there, but Finlay played fantastic. His energy, his continuous pressure, just like unrelenting, was fantastic to see. Danny, the stalwart there, fantastic. Johan played a good game. And, you know, his first name's Gyasi and his last name is Shut Up. So good to see G there. I actually thought Maxi was going to get the start, and that was only because it was a rest thing for me. And he's older, and I thought he might have needed the rest on this short week here. But, yes, oh, my God. He was fantastic. So I was super satisfied with the 11. And, you know, it's part of out of necessity. We've shifted to this new lineup, but we have unlocked some things. And we've talked about that, and that's been really, really encouraging to see over these past couple games here.
Let's go ahead and get into this one here. Kind of a quick start, a little bit nervy, or at least testing Rado there as the left center back. First minute, Tevez gets in kind of one-on-one with Rado, and then he deflects that shot or cross attempt. It was probably more of a cross attempt there from Tevez near the edge of the 18. And then Stuver rushes to the end line, keeping that ball in play. Jumping ahead to the 9th minute, Christian Roldan, not available last night for Seattle. Alex Roldan gets free down that right side. He fires in a dangerous low cross through the box. And luckily, Hebert wasn't quite in position yet, and Ring was able to clear it out for the corner. But, you know, I said it to you, and I think it's fine to say now, and we'll be able to reference this multiple times throughout our recap of this match. I think if Raul Ruidiaz is in last night in that Hebert spot, we lose.
That's fair.
I thought Hebert was a step slow on multiple dangerous chances throughout this match. Either he was a step slow or he was like a couple inches offside in a couple instances as well. And maybe I just have the Ruidiaz kind of the PTSD from all the things he's done to us over the first two seasons. So that was a benefit. And again, middle of the season, we're shorthanded, so are they. So we just went out there and played with who we had. 14th minute, little bop to the nose for Rado there on a header attempt. Ends up being fine, but maybe he shows up on the concussion protocol in 3 days, and then we got to put the tinfoil hats back on. 19th minute, Seattle turns it over, playing out of the back. Danny intercepts it, finds Lundqvist in the left center of the 18. Kind of a weak shot, but was almost being sandwiched between two defenders there. Goes right at Stefan Frei. But, again, Lundqvist being a threat in the attack, that continued in this match, and that's great to see. 26th minute, Nico Ladero, our boy. I think luckily for us, right, we would rather him not score a ton against Austin and us get that win. But he certainly didn't help us in the best ball streets. He gets sprung out on the left side by Cody Baker, their new homegrown signing, 19-year-old, filling in for Nuhu there at the left back. I thought he
was good.
He was a little reckless at times with his challenges, as young players tend to be. But, I agree with your assessment. He looked like a pretty promising young player for them, as Seattle style there.
Yeah, as they do.
So Ladero gets that down the left side, whips in a long looping cross, another one of these Hebert kind of, I think, missteps. He just couldn't get there in time, and I think on the replay was slightly offside. But to this point, and even a minute later, we're talking about a different Alex, not Roldan, but you're looking at the momentum chart on any of these sites, and fairly balanced through the first 30 minutes or so. But that was certainly one of the more dangerous chances on that Lodero low cross. Minute later, the good Alex, our Alex Ring, gets some space like 35, 40 yards out, has a look, and is just like, I'm going to try this. And to be honest, man, I don't hate it. We've seen him knock down shots from outside the box before. Not quite that far, but he was, I don't know, a foot lower, and I think that's going in top corner.
Yeah, it was a good shot. And like you said, I don't hate it either, especially out of that even farther back position, because they're really not expecting that shot to come. So, I was fine with it. You got to open up a little bit, give them different looks.
Yeah, make sure Stefan Frei's awake back there.
Yeah.
29th minute, here comes Nico Ladero again, receiving the ball in space, middle of the field, plays it forward, kind of looked on the replay this morning, looked like he was trying to find Jordan Morris, but Heber comes across and just kind of snags it. But then he plays a really nice give and go with Tevis on the right side. But kind of has to flail at it to get the return pass, and that ends up going over the bar. 34th minute. This is where ATX really starts to make a little push here. Finlay wins the ball back in the defensive half. He pokes it out to Danny Pereira. And then Danny fires a long ball on the ground. And again, the long ball attempts continued. Even with Julio out of there, Rado, multiple good changes, pitches, and long balls, just test, putting that verticality to the test, kind of testing that Seattle back line. Again, this long ball from Danny on the ground to a sprinting Rigoni. And I thought it slowed down. The ball slowed down just a touch right before Rigoni got onto it, but kind of a mixture of that and, young Cody Baker coming in to poke it away. But again, good to see that aggressiveness and taking those chances, like we said on the last episode.
I mean, we just have outlets on either side that create good opportunities when we can get those longer balls up to our skilled players, our attacking players. And it's encouraging. Like, it's just fucking encouraging stuff, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no question. A minute later, great first-time ball from Heber. One of his better touches, I thought, on the night. He springs Tevis in free behind on the right side, kind of one-on-one with Stuver, and Stuver hesitates. Like, this was probably the most nervy moment that we saw in the first half in terms of the defensive side for Austin. But even with the hesitation, Stuver makes the stop, like almost squirts through and able to kind of corral it back in. And then I think going the other way, next possession, Austin in the 36th minute, Finlay plays Gallagher down the right. Gallagher whips a cross in, and that cross goes kind of all the way through the 6-yard box, all the way to that left side of the 18 where Rigoni runs onto it. And then Lundqvist right there, Rigoni slips it through to him near the end line. And then Lundqvist, a somewhat hopeful, I think, cutback pass there, but it sneaks through two Seattle defenders right to Finlay. And man, the more I watch this replay, the more difficult that attempt seems. Finlay does not have a lot of space or time to wind up and get power behind it, but he gets just enough and is just accurate enough to slot this one past Stephen Fry for the 1-0 lead there in the 36th minute. And man, then we started getting ideas.
It was a great shot, man. His off foot, keep it low, bit of a turn, great shot, great play by the boys. And just, it was continuous pressure that we were applying to that defensive back line for this Seattle team. And we broke free. And we've said, if we can get fortunate with something, we'll always take it. And the pass from Lundy found its mark, and it was good to be up early or up first.
Up first for sure. Yeah, man. Like I said, started getting ideas. I think I don't know if there was a FaceTime after that first goal or not, but we were excited for sure. 2 minutes later, Joe Paulo fouled hard by Johan Valencia right outside the defensive area there. And, it's been a while since we got just a classic Valencia takeout. And take it out.
Bad turn, though.
Yeah.
Bad turn.
On that kind of the cross attempt there in the offensive half for Valencia. Is that what you're referring to?
I can't really remember where he lost it, but it was the direct.
It led directly to that.
Now happens because we're in a shit position.
Well, I think we were texting with our buddy RB last night, and I think that kind of came up a little bit. It's like Valencia in the first half, a couple tough giveaways.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
But again, I think overall he has been playing better since he's been called into the starting role. More full time.
Mm-hmm.
That free kick, Ladero puts it on frame, but seems like a decently easy save for Stuver. Kind of two-hand palms it over the bar, and then the ensuing corner is cleared out. 44th minute. This was almost our gift here. Yamar turns it over. Rigoni runs onto it. Kind of a 2-on-1 plus Stephen Fry in net. Zardes streaking down the left side. And Rigoni, good idea. The execution just wasn't there. Put it way too close to Stephen Fry. But again, it's been a season of almost, and obviously we converted some of those last night, but this was another one of those where it was like, and he knows too. All those guys wish that we had that one back, but
he had more time.
Yeah,
he had more time than he allowed himself, and just a bad ball. But I do remember hearing on the broadcast last night that he kind of turned to the bench, and all of our coaches were like great pressure, like way to go, like very encouraging. So like that's what we want to see. That's what we want to see. He put his head down. He stayed in the game, played great throughout the entire rest of the game.
Yeah, keeping that confidence up, right? And just, telling him, good idea. We're there. We're there.
Yeah, exactly.
45th minute, Cody Baker completely takes out Ethan Finlay, just trips him from behind, right on the near sideline to the broadcast camera. I don't know if you heard this. I caught it on the replay this morning. 30 seconds later, you can hear Josh yelling at the head official, "Are you fucking blind?"
I mean, it was horrible.
Yeah. It was
2 fouls. Johnny got fouls too.
Yeah.
But
it was a bad call there.
Yeah, but that's good.
And that closed the half. Jumping in the second half here, kind of just a pressure-filled half, but even the first 10 minutes there, wasn't feeling great. It felt like the dam was going to break at some point, but the defense held up through that early part of the second half. And that first 10 minutes was kind of culminated with, Stuver. Sometimes it's not Stuver, right? Sometimes it's Stuvino. And getting a little too comfortable in the 6-yard box with Hebert bearing down on him, but it ends up getting it out to Rado there on the near sideline. But he's good for those at least once a month, and there was hopefully his one. 56th minute, Rigoni caught offside coming back to contest a long ball. And it wouldn't, if that ball had gotten through and he hadn't affected the play, he very much did. But if he hadn't jumped up, there was potential there for a 3-on-2 for Austin. Lundqvist showing a little bit of frustration there, but definitely the right call by the official. 57th minute, another Austin buildup sees Alex Ring find John Gallagher on that right sideline. He slips the ball down the line to Finlay, who's streaking in behind, and then Finlay gets kind of just inside or I think maybe just outside the 18 on this one, but near the end line when he runs onto it, puts in a cross, and big guy with the blonde mohawk runs to the right spot, bangs it home off the far post. Gyasi Zardes opens his Austin FC account, and 98th career league goal for him. So just 2 more to the century mark. And yeah, obviously as 2 guys who have been waiting for this for a while and defending him when he's had fine performances and criticizing when he's been bad, it was great to see.
Oh my God. Yeah, I FaceTimed you.
Yeah, that was the FaceTime.
That was good. Well-deserved, much-needed FaceTime. Yeah, let's fucking talk about it. Sure. All right. Has Gyasi lost a step from where he was? Yes. He's older. It happens. And like you talked about earlier before we jumped on air here, it's like the man is not going to have 0 goal contributions for it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Like we talk about regressing back to the mean when a team plays well, but it can also go the other way. You can regress back to your mean if you've been playing particularly poorly to your usual standard. So G has lost a step. It's true. It is. There's some long balls that get played to him. I think there was one in the first half. I don't know who could have gotten it. I don't know if there's anyone particularly fast enough on this team. Maxey wasn't getting that ball. Will Bruin sure as hell wasn't getting that ball. So it was just great to see him get on the board and, just have the people shut up about him because, let's go through the numbers again. That's 7 starts for G, 11 points for the team, 5 starts for Maxey, 2 points. So I don't really know, and Maxey still does not have a league goal, right?
He's got one, Montreal.
He's got one versus Montreal. I apologize.
Yeah.
So look, man, hopefully it's the start of, a continuous regression back to this positive mean of who he is as a player, caliber wise. But just great to see, happy for him. And I know that the vultures, after seeing the salary cap come out and the salaries for these places, were just ready to just ravage the corpse. So I was fucking hype.
Yeah, and we'll talk the salary release here in a little bit. But yeah, no better time than when people find out that, you know, you've been paid. I mean, look, man, and we'll talk about the salaries. $800K, it is a lot.
Yeah, we want more out of him for sure.
Yeah, that's let's not get it twisted. We're not saying he's been good. We were right on the bandwagon of folks saying, 10 goals, fucking easy. And he may still get to that number. Got a lot of work to do to get there, but like you said, it wasn't just going to magically be, he just can't score or assist anymore. 0.48 goals and assists per 90 last year with the Rapids on a worse team. Like the contributions, I think, will continue, and hopefully, you know, getting back to that, you know, 0.45 or 0.5 per 90, like that would be great. That's what you're paying $800K for.
Absolutely. And I mean, if you just look at the team in general, we are trending more in a direction of scoring goals. Yeah. We're regressing back to, you know, not where we were last year, which was probably way above where we, you know, actually talent-wise were. But we're getting back to scoring the goals. Things are looking more fluid. The game is more open. People are actually getting more comfortable into their roles. And fuck, man, we still don't have Seba. We still don't have Diego, and we didn't have Owen.
Right.
Like, fuck.
And like, Julio. And Rodney.
Yeah, and Julio and Rodney. And
which is a thing now. Rodney.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. And we had said before, end of May is when we're looking at this team to be to be able to get the real picture of what this squad is. And it's still difficult because we're not even remotely close to 100%. And the only team that, you know, you and I can think off the top of our heads here who has dealt with the type of injuries that this team has dealt with is Toronto. But I mean, we have also dealt with the Claudio Reyna thing. Like all of these things impacted. We lost our best defender 5 minutes into the first game.
Yeah.
You know, so we have been behind the 8 ball, but we are slowly catching back up. And I don't think we have dug ourselves too large of a hole to get out of. And well, like we said, we will never say we're done with the basketball references. But look at the teams in the playoffs right now. Look at the Miami Heat. Look at the Los Angeles Lakers. You get in there. If you're good enough, that's the time to prove it. Not throughout this fucking regular season that goes from, man, when did we start?
February 25th.
To the end of October.
Yeah.
You know, so we got time. And, really just hoping that this team is on the trajectory of getting hot and healthy at the right time.
No question. 61st minute. Lima in for Radovanovic. I saw a lot of people saying, that's where Josh fucked up last night. Is it not clear? 60th minute. Right away, Lima's coming in. Like, that was a minutes limit. Yeah. That is the most minutes Radovanovic has played for us. He has not started before. And we got games. The next 3 weeks, like, that was a planned sub. It's a minutes limit. Like, look, nobody's fooled in thinking that Radovanovic didn't play great last night. If you watch the game, you know, like, everybody was excited for him.
Yeah.
Let's be fucking realistic here, people. I guess that's a silly ask of our fan base. And look, let's also be fair. This made me feel a little bit better about our fans, is that, like, if you go onto some of the Seattle posts, there's people calling for Schmetzer's job after last night. There's people saying sell Ladero, sell Rui Diaz. Like, so it's everywhere, man.
It's everywhere. As somebody who routinely jumps into other subreddits and places, everyone hates everyone. Unless you're Denny Bouanga. Then you're fine.
Yeah. Ring moved to that left side, so slides into the Rado spot there on the left and Lima on the right. 69th minute, Seattle on the break. Leo Chu finds Jordan Morris near the 6 with Leo Väisänen kind of on his back. Morris cuts it back to Albert Rusnak, who's kind of crashing the box. Alex Ring, I think, saves a goal here, just kind of throws his body in front of the shot. And I think they said on the broadcast, Ring celebrating like he scored a goal. And he saved one.
Yeah, he sure fucking did.
Yeah. So, again, Alex Ring, no matter where he's playing on the pitch, I think has been fantastic this season and continues. Armband or not, he's a leader.
Absolutely. Yes, thank you. And it's a good thing that he's not a crybaby like a lot of people when he lost the armband. Otherwise, we'd be truly fucked.
Yeah.
Dude's a competitor.
If he just gave up, threw in the towel.
Yeah.
Dude's fuck this, I'm out. Yeah.
Absolutely.
For sure. 71st minute. These were, I think, it ended up paying off on the score sheet, but announcers noted it at the time, and I think both of us thought the same. Josh Atencio, the young, I think Atencio, homegrown as well, comes in for Albert Rusnak, and Freddie Montero, the veteran, in for Nico Ladero. 3 minutes later, Danny with a foul, and then ends up getting carded for arguing, I guess for dissent, right? After the foul on Joao Paulo. So I get it, Danny. Like, I know you're frustrated there. Maybe it's not a great call, but again, like, especially as a guy who I think was suspended, 3 times last year for either red cards or yellow card accumulation, like, that's just a cheap one, man. Like, we need you to get those yellows, like legit ones, not just whining.
He's young, he's spicy
for sure.
Then
79th minute, build up from the right side for Seattle goes through Alex Roldan to Jordan Morris, who gets behind Ring, and then Leo tries to kind of go for a little poke, kind of steal, run past him. He misses it.
Yeah.
So Morris knocks it on to Hebert, and Lima is marking him, but then obviously the entire back line is shifted over. Johnny a little bit late coming back from his wing back position. And so Montero streaking down the middle of the pitch. Hebert finds him, and he slots it in. And then saw this on the replay too, more so than live, but Gallagher slams into Ring at the end, and glad he's not hurt because he went down pretty hard.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Yeah. But so 2-1 there. Now we're tightening up a little bit. Getting a little tight. 83rd minute. Will Bruin, in his return to Seattle, his former team, on for goal scorer Gyasi Zardes in the 83rd. Then Nuhu on for the young Cody Baker. And good to see Nuhu back because this was just reported this week. He had malaria from the last international break. Of course, Cameroonian national there. And that makes a lot more sense why he was out a month plus.
Yeah, it's a tough illness to play with.
Yeah. Good to see him back. That same minute, right off the restart, Seattle quick build up on the long ball from Joao Paulo to Alex Roldan, and he plays a perfect cross. I don't have any other words for it. Into the diving foot of Morris, kind of just like this flying attempt, and he puts it on net, and Stuver does what he does. Stuver saves. And so, that was another point of contention in the fan base is the man of the match Stuver or Ethan Finlay? What was your vote?
For man of the match?
Yeah, Stuver or Finlay? Finlay, goal and assist. Stuver, obviously, fantastic effort in net again.
I think Finlay.
Yeah.
I think Finlay.
Yeah. I think that is probably my lean as well, both deserving. But being the main contributor on both of those goals, right?
Super.
Great game in relief there for the veteran. Closing this one out here, we do see Diego Fagundes come on for the last 3 minutes in there for man of the match Ethan Finlay. And again, I think it was great that we didn't need Diego to not even just get a result, but to win this match on the road and now potentially have him for hopefully 45, 60 minutes on Saturday coming back from this groin injury.
I would assume.
And then in the first minute of stoppage time, Bruin. I really thought he was going to pass this off, but he tries to beat the Seattle defender off the dribble, kind of gets away from him. Goalkeeper dives, and then so does Will Bruin, and he gets a yellow card for simulation. Good try there, Dancing Bear. So that closes out the 2-1 Austin win. Not just the first goals in Seattle at Lumen Field, but the first win. And now, I don't think I ever have to talk about the 0-0 draw in 2021 being one of my favorite draws because I have a new favorite game in Seattle.
Beautiful.
I guess we'll go through the stats here first. Seattle 60% possession last night. Obviously, that shifted more heavily in their favor. after we went up a goal. 13 shots to 6, also in favor of Seattle, but both teams with just 4 shots, or not just 4 shots, 4 shots on target, 4 out of 6 for Austin. Pretty good. 5 of those 6 Austin shots came inside the box. And then XG, it's everybody's favorite stat till it isn't. And we don't care about it much today, but 2.5 XG for Seattle on FOTMob's model, 0.61 for Austin. But again, G is the only stat that counts.
Correct.
So I guess some overall points to hit here, right? Seattle was shorthanded. So were we.
Yep.
And I guess let's just close it out. Let's close it out a little bit on Zardes here, right? Like, I just don't think people are giving him the credit still today for a good performance. Like, just because you've been somebody who has gone maybe a little over the line on Gyasi Zardes, can we not give him credit for a good game last night? Like, you don't have to. I'm not asking for everybody to come around and all of a sudden have, go get the customized 9 jersey at the Verde store. But can we be happy for the guy? And look at his teammates. Everybody on the team came over, jumped on that dog pile after he scored, extra pats on the back. Like, come on, man. Like,
and we didn't even address the multiple headers he had defensively in the box for us to clear the ball out. We also didn't address how far back he was coming once we had gotten the lead to be a part of the defense that we were trying to put up against what just became a full-on onslaught for Seattle just coming at us. And also to be that hold-up game that we needed. He drew multiple fouls that put us in good positions where, like, he had one where he's the only person forward, like moving forward up the pitch, and he draws a foul. And now we get to change the entire field. Their offense moves back. We push our defense up, So even though he got on the score sheet, and the things that we have been talking about with him throughout the entire season is that sometimes it's just not showing up. But, he's getting he's getting these opportunities, and he capitalized on this one. And, just please be happy for the man. He's a fucking legend.
Yeah.
He's not just an MLS legend. He's a U.S. national team legend. So, if you don't want to be happy for him, go fuck yourself. That's it.
It's simple enough, right? Yeah. We mentioned the Seattle fans. We had a lot of people saying, hey, purchase Radovanovic now. Sign this man.
Loved him.
We're with it.
Yeah.
I think it's, and we'll get into the salaries here in a minute, but I think his salary, to me, obviously we don't know the breakdown between his former club and Austin in terms of who's paying the salary, but his salary is right there with the other 2 starting center backs. So I think all signs are pointing to Radovanovic is here to stay.
I agree. And that's something that I'm happy about, particularly with this new formation that we've kind of unlocked.
It's our buddy P. Michael Hayes on Twitter asked us to kind of share our thoughts here on 2 things. He wanted us to talk about the potential of putting Rigoni up top at the 9. So I guess let's start there. I've seen, he's not the first person, I think, to bring that up over the last few weeks. I think for me, I can appreciate the fact that we haven't gotten hardly anything out of Gyasi and Maxi this season. Obviously, especially before last night, you had gotten no contributions on the score sheet from G. I don't, and I haven't at any point thought that Rigoni at the 9 is the answer. Like, that is like the logical next step for me, at least. Again, as the average amateur analyst here, it just, like, he's so much better creating chances for others, and I feel like he does that better in the positions that he's been in this season. Obviously, I have not given up on just rotating through Maxi and Gyasi and bringing Will on for 10 to 20 minutes at the end of these matches. And I think, like, to be honest, and I can't take full credit for this, like, shout out to the boys in the LDR Slack. Like, I think before we try a Rigoni at the 9, maybe it should be Driussi.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Okay.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Particularly if we are focused on maintaining this current formation that we're playing out of. putting Seba at that 9 in that situation allows us to get the most amount of talent that we can on the field at one time.
Yeah.
Then you can get Fagu on either side now, really. You can get him. He came in on the right.
Yeah. Just slide it right in for Finlay.
Yep. So he can play both sides. We know Emmy can play both sides. He's obviously been playing much better on this left side. I still am of the mindset that I would want to see us continue with Gyasi and the Maxi rotation. But if it comes down to it, I'm all for getting Seba at that 9, particularly with this new formation where there's so much room to track back to get the ball fed to you at the half line and still make plays for others, which obviously we know that Seba can do. So yeah, that's where I'm at with that. And I don't know if putting Emmy at the 9 maximizes his potential and his the things about him that make him special on the pitch.
Yeah, and I think this is another interesting conversation is if we're going to continue with this formation, is Diego a starter at this point? Like, because look, if we're going to continue with one of those true strikers up top, then Diego, and I've been taught, like I brought up to again, some of those folks that I think have just a better soccer acumen than I do. Like, why would we not try Diego at one of those wing back positions, specifically on the left, because we know he'd rather play on the left. And I think good points made by Profe and Logan and Kevin and Landon in LDR, like telling me, it's a little bit different. Like the comparison I made is both natural wingers, Diego and John Gallagher. John Gallagher able to play that wing back role successfully. Can Diego not, kind of adapt to maybe where we could use him best? And good comparison or just comparing and contrasting the two, the attributes of those two guys. Johnny, more straight line speed, better athlete. And that it makes sense to me why Diego would not fit in one of those spots right now. But like assuming health on this team and in this formation, it's Rigoni and it's Seba in those two, front positions, sitting in the middle, tucked in behind the 9. And if he can't play a wing back, then Diego might be the $1 million man who is our super sub. Again, I'm not saying every game. He's going to rotate in there. He's going to get starts. And we're probably going to see some tactical changes continuously as we go through the season. But just looking at what we've got right now, I think that is an interesting potential conundrum that the coaching staff is going to have to deal with as we get healthy. But at the end of the day, it's a good problem to have. That we have too many players that deserve to be on the pitch in starting roles, and that we have some competition at these spots.
Yeah, I mean, shit, I feel good with that left wing back in Lundy there.
Yeah.
I really like how he's coming into his own there.
Yeah. But he can't, I mean, him and Johnny can't do it the whole season, right?
Absolutely. But I feel like that would just be it would be a challenge for Diego to try to navigate both of these very different positions. And he was already, if he was losing his starting job, that's already going to be, a bit of a hurdle to get over in itself. So yeah, man, when Seba gets back, we got some interesting decisions to be made, and they're all pretty good.
Yeah,
nothing is like a dire situation here. And just keeping those dudes fresh, like we saw what we can get from Finlay. We can get good, high quality spot starts out of him as well. And hopefully what it does is it just makes Diego elevate his game and be like, you know what? I want my starting job. I'm going to keep it. And it's because I'm better.
Yeah.
And then go out and do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So interesting things to watch. The other part that our buddy asked us about is Musa Jite's situation. And so I think it has not permeated through the entire fan base yet. I think what the supposed reason is for his transfer, it wasn't that we don't want Musa here or he's not good enough. It was he's got a newborn child that to the end of last season he had not seen.
Yeah.
He was born during the season, I believe. And so his partner and his kid could not get into the United States. So I think it was very similar to Ruben's situation where it's personal, and that's why we're getting him overseas. And so I personally, I know you and I are on the same page here. We don't think he's coming back. And I think the only way that the potential is there for that is if we can get his family into the States with him. And that's a lot easier said than done in some circumstances, as we know. So I don't have high hopes for Musa coming back.
I'm with you. I also don't have high hopes. And like you said, it's not a soccer thing.
Yeah.
It's a family thing, and that takes precedent. So,
no question.
Would we like to have him back? Oh, fuck yeah. Would love to have him back. But I don't think it's in the cards either.
Before we move on to the Toronto preview here, hey, it was picture night, right? In the locker room, we got that picture. One thing I noticed today, and I forget who pointed it out, so I apologize for not being able to credit you, but there's always a lot of things to look at in those photos. But John Gallagher, his foot is bloody. Yeah, bloody toe, something going on there. In the slides. Yeah, bloody toe.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so injured. Hopefully not injured bad. Last thing before we move on to Toronto. This is more just like the facts. Let's look at the recent form.
Mm-hmm. Talk to him real quick.
Draw at home against a San Jose side that we know is good. We know they are quality this year. They went and beat LAFC the week after they drew us at home. And, of course, no Diego in that match. No Julio quite yet either there. And Rado had not made his debut yet. Then we go on the next week at Portland, get a draw. First 2 goals we had scored in the Pacific Northwest, No Diego. No Driussi, come back home, take care of business easily against the USL side. Nice and easy, 2-0 win. Rested some guys, no injuries. Then, of course, last Saturday, you take the loss to Dallas, but better team before the red card.
Fact.
Almost got out of there with a point regardless.
Fact.
No Diego, no Driussi, no Owen Wolf. Then yesterday, win at Seattle. First win up there, tough place to play. No Seba, no Owen, no Julio, no Rodney, and essentially no Diego. We played 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So, man, look, I said this almost word for word other places already today, but I'm going to say it again. If you are not encouraged or maybe even excited about the progression of this team over the last month, you're just a miserable fuck, and we can't do anything for you.
Is that what you've been saying?
Yeah.
You're a miserable fuck.
Look, good things are happening with this team, and it's wild that it's happening while our best players are out.
Absolutely. And if you want to get excited and hear some people who have maintained this position the entire time, then go back and listen to some previous episodes of ours. Yeah. Because we're like the fucking dudes from Pirates of the Caribbean who are just built into the shit. No, it don't matter. Like, we'll go down with it. I'll get a barnacle on my fucking face, starfish and shit.
We were going to go down with underwater.
Yeah. But look, man, it is encouraging. Let's get healthy at the right time. Let's flip the script from last year where we tailed off, and let's start this rise. And look, we have set the launch pad. And this Saturday is a must-win game. Yeah. It's a must-win because you can't get a result like this versus Seattle, then drop this game versus Toronto, because then it's basically like you took the L versus Seattle and you beat a shit Toronto team.
Sure. Well, let's talk about Toronto. And first of all, Adrian Healy in town. Healy and Kobe Jones on the call this Saturday. So for those of us who can't join all of our friends at Soccer Church at Q2 on Saturday, you will hear the dulcet tones of one Adrian Healy. We love to see that. Of course, no regular season or playoff history between these two clubs. Toronto FC was founded in 2005. They began play in the 2007 MLS season. Early on, known for their significant fan support. And I think you could still say that to this day. And they, like a lot of fan bases, they've got their idiots. We saw the, kind of the attack from the Toronto supporters on those Montreal supporters early or mid last week in that Canadian championship.
Canadian fight?
Oh, a Canadian fight. You didn't see that?
What's that about?
Yeah.
Canadians fighting?
Oh, dude. So it was like Montreal fans, the Canadian Championship game at BMO there in Toronto. And yeah, small Montreal contingent up there. Apparently there was like no, the visiting fans coming to Q2, there's security up there. There was nobody. And some Toronto fans come up and just started a fight. Some bullshit, man.
Sick,
cowards.
Man. Yeah. Awesome.
Cool guys.
Yeah. What a bunch of badass Canadians.
Yeah. Speaking of Canadian Championship, 8-time Canadian Championship winners are Toronto FC. I'm not super impressed by that. What is there, 7.5 teams up there?
What the fuck is that?
No shade to our buddy Kikuta Mane up there in the Canadian Premiership. They won the Supporter Shield in 2017, also MLS Cup, and they won the Canadian Championship that year. So they were the first MLS team to complete a domestic treble in that season, led by the legendary Sebastian Jovinko, 16 goals in that season, 20 in all comps. So, not an empty trophy case up there in Toronto. Currently led by the second and fourth highest paid players in MLS, Lorenzo Insigne, $7.5 million, Federico Bernardeschi, $6.3 million. But not great results so far. 2 wins, 7 draws, 4 losses, 13 goals for, 17 against, so -4 goal differential. Toronto FC also sitting on 13 points, just like Austin, but that is good for last place out east. So certainly a struggling side here. They've gotten 1 point from their last 3 league matches. 2-0 loss at home to the Revolution, then a 2-0 road loss to Montreal over the weekend, and drew New York Red Bulls 0-0 at home last night. So toothless attack of late. But, with those names we just read off, we know these guys can turn that around in a hurry. We talked about in the offseason signing Sean Johnson. That's been good for them in net. Just before that window closed, we talked about with Mike LaHood last week, they traded for CJ Sapong for more goal-scoring help. He scored in his debut for them. Bernardeschi leading Toronto FC 3 goals and 5 total contributions. Last night's matchup against New York Red Bulls saw 8 players out. So, you would think that injury report not going to be totally cleared by Saturday. So another shorthanded outing, I think, in the cards here for Toronto. But let's talk about us. We're not going to be full strength either, of course. Owen down in Argentina. Also, I think Saturday, the first game for the U20s out there. So good
nice
to Owen and the team. Of course, still Driussi will also be absent here, and think remains to be seen with Julio Cascante and his concussion protocol progress. So I guess let's talk Austin here.
Mm-hmm.
See some rotation, right? It's somewhere here in the lineup. Where do you think it happens? What do you think we see? And what do you want to see against Toronto on Saturday night?
Man, that's a good question. I would love to see the same starting 3 on the back line.
Okay.
Rado, Leo, Alex. We got to keep riding those dudes. I'm going off the assumption that Julio is not available.
Sure.
I don't know what the concussion protocol is like for MLS. I don't know what he's got to pass, what certain tests he's got to pass, but I'm going off the assumption that he was not available. It's hard for me. I don't even know who we could put in that spot for Lundy where I would feel okay about it, right? Like because Johnny
Gallagher,
he should be on the other side, in a perfect world here.
Yeah.
Shit. You know what? I'm going to stick with it. I think that those are our 5 in the back. Okay. I know it's a short week. It's going to be a tough month. Coach has outlined it for these guys, and we're a prepared team. We're ready to play.
Mm-hmm.
I think you'll see Danny, and I think it's going to be Jeffel.
Okay.
I do think that's probably where the rotation comes with Johan. Rodney back in the starting 11, despite a great game from Finlay. Hopefully that can be a 60-30 thing too, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't hate that. Emmy, I think with Maxi not even on the team last night, I think he probably starts this game. And am I missing someone here?
I don't think so. You think Finley's still out there? Or you think Rodney gets back in?
I think Diego. I forgot about Diego coming back. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Give me some Diego.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, that's what kind of starting up top with you on Maxey. I thought, to me, that was clear when he just wasn't in the team yesterday.
Yeah.
It's his game on Saturday.
Yep.
Which is great. Like, this is like what we envisioned, right? If there's a little bit of success up top, it's like, hey, Gyasi can score on a Wednesday and Maxey can start and hopefully score on a Saturday. Can't sit Emmy. I think, look, if he can go 60, I would love to see a Diego start.
Yep.
Let's say he can't start.
Okay.
I think it has to be Finlay, not just because of his performance last night. That is certainly a point in the right direction for, like, if you want to say start Finlay, but I think Rodney has to earn his way back into the team now. Even as good as he had been playing, you get a red, you fucked us, man.
He definitely fucked us, and hope that doesn't hurt your feelings.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I look, I'm not surprised to see any of those three guys. And ultimately, like, that stuff aside, I'm fine with any of those three guys.
Yeah.
But I think all three should touch the field here. And hopefully we can be in a position where you can comfortably take off both of those starters in the middle of the second half and get Emmy some rest. Because, again, we're going again, and we're going after this Open Cup next Wednesday.
Yep.
And we know where we stand on that. So, I mean, I think I'm with you on the back half as well, where, like, if Julio's out, would love to see that same five. Potentially, if you want to give Lundy a rest, you bring Johnny to that left side. You put Lima out there on that right wing back side. Again, I think, to me, there's just a drop off in the offensive half when it's Lima instead of Lundy and Johnny.
It's a huge drop off.
But this is with those, I don't feel comfortable right now. Clearly, Josh doesn't either. Maybe we see that change over the next week or two. I don't feel comfortable putting Hector in one of those spots or really in the game at all. So we've got only just those three options at wing back. And to me, I think it's like poor Johnny. He's got to be everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we see Lundqvist and Lima start on Wednesday if we give Lundy some rest here. Who knows? But hopefully, fingers crossed, Julio's back, and then maybe you can push Ring up into the midfield, etc. Like, we'll see how Josh handles that. All right, let's go. We're a little over an hour here, and we got more to talk about. So, score predictions. How much is Austin FC winning by on Saturday?
This is a must-win game for me. Like I said earlier, we got to come out. They have two very talented players. They're a bit disjointed right now at the bottom of the table in the East. We're better than them.
Mm-hmm.
We should beat this team, and I think we can beat them 3-1.
3-1. I like it. Not so rosy, but going to be a win for me here. Give me 2-1 Austin FC. I'm not surprised if Toronto struggles to score again. Again, have not scored in their last 3 league matches. But, I think they maybe get one. I respect the talent of those two guys. And I think they will get their chances. So still, I'm with you. And I think, again, it's a must win in terms of like our psyche and the current direction to continue this upward trajectory, right? In the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
It's not a must win, but I get what you're saying, right?
Yes.
We're on the same wavelength there. All right. So let's real quick, player salaries released. And, we kind of hinted at it. Gyasi on $800K, which not too much more than Maxey, who's on 736. So again, over 1.5 million for those two guys and what they've done this year, even with how happy we are with G's performance last night. And again, Maxey has had his 2 tap-in goals where he's right in the right spot, won us the Montreal game. Mm-hmm. Great performance against New Mexico 2 weeks ago. But it's just, that's a lot of money for the production we're getting from those two guys. So both of them still need to step it up from what they've been doing.
Agree.
At least in my opinion there. We said Driussi over $6 million, which I think Andrew Wemby owns his viewership. Him eating a hat. He said if Driussi got over $6 million, he would eat a hat. And looks like he's been backing off on that. Yeah, this was like in the offseason. He tweeted.
Said he would eat a baseball hat?
I think it's a cap. Yeah, somebody's hat in a picture. Yeah.
And now he's backing off?
I believe so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Can't trust him.
That's pretty lame, bro. It's pretty fucking lame. Because you can say whatever you want on the internet. When you actually say, I'm going to do this after, then you, it's like, that's dumb, buddy.
Yeah.
Dummy.
6.02 million guaranteed compensation for the MVP runner-up.
And let's talk about that number real quick. Let's just talk about that.
Sure.
Because there have been rumblings
amongst
the fans here that, he got his bag and now he's
lazy now.
He's good now. He got paid. He doesn't like soccer no more. I just want y'all to know that this dude is seeing the things that are being said online, and he's taking it into account. And that's all I'm going to say about it. And he will be back, and I anticipate a hell fury from that man going forward for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, look, if we can somehow prove that like shit talking him on the internet is what fuels his goal a game pace, then I'm about to hate on Seba openly. But he's out there taking receipts. We know that. Super excited for him to get back. Diego, over $1 million. I mean, look, I still don't agree. I know you're with me. Still don't agree with the way Josh brought up multiple times his contract extension. But this does give some context to the guy who came in a little bit out of shape, was not performing, and was showing up the coach publicly on the field. Bro, you're getting paid $1 million.
Yeah.
For MLS standards, that's up there, man. Like, you don't see non-DPs getting $1 million in guaranteed compensation very often.
Yeah, and I mean, look, we're looking at these numbers right now, and for the majority of the season, we have underperformed as a team in whole, as a whole. So again, regressing back to the mean of what these players are, who they are, their talent level, I think that'll come. And maybe this spurred Gyasi on last night. The numbers go public, and people are ready to jump down his throat. We want everyone to play better. Period.
Yeah, absolutely. Some other notables here. $460K for your boy, Johan Romagna, the most fit center back of all time. Stuver's extension, $430K. Sizable increase there for him.
How does that number match up with the rest of the goalies in the league?
It's a good question. I think
there should be. I think that number, because I know a lot of people are talking about that. It was a hot point where it's like, well, Stuver's only making $430. Well, it's like, right, there's availability to get more keepers than you can like signing a striker to come play in the MLS to be a quality starter for you.
That's 18th in a league of 29 teams. So still maybe slightly underpaid there, but he's right in the range of guys like Ivicic, Dane St. Clair, Tyler Miller for DC, our boy Georgie right there, 450. So yeah, I mean, 1.6 million for Roman Berkey there in St. Louis, paying for the name, the pedigree for sure.
They unlock the league.
Yeah, they unlock it. Unstoppable. All you need is a second division German coach who knows soccer. You come and you destroy MLS.
And a $1.5 million keeper. You're good.
Let's see, a couple other notables in there. Calm down, everybody, with the Danny Pereira, salary. That's still the rookie structure, Generation Adidas structure. He will get paid more, whether it's here or after he is sold on to Europe somewhere.
So right now we're paying $1 million to Amro Tarek and Johan Romagna combined.
$750, right around there. Yeah, Tarek $250K. Living the life.
He better start driving fucking Uber. Do something for the team. Get the drunk people home from the stadium.
All right, let's get the fucking Tarek vibes out of here. Let's move on. Let's talk about all the good vibes around Austin FCito, who are back in action tomorrow night on Friday, I believe 8 p.m. Central, out there at the pitch, taking on San Jose Earthquakes 2 and Quakes 2. one of those 21 clubs that were announced fielding a team to begin the next pro league in 2022. So a young minor league franchise here. They were fifth last season, 2022. They had 12 wins, 8 losses, 4 draws, plus 11 goal differential, 41 points. They were good. That was good for fifth in the West and sixth overall. Did not qualify for the next pro playoffs this season. They've got 2 games in hand on Austin, and I think a game in hand on the rest of the Western Conference here. Just 7 games played, 3 wins, 1 draw, and 3 losses. Just 7 goals for in those 7 matches and 3 wins and a draw, because only 5 against. So strong defensive showing so far in the young season from Quakes 2. They are sitting on 11 points from their 7 games. Again, Austin, 9 games, 19 points, good for second in the Western Conference. 12 first-team contracts coming into town tomorrow for Quakes 2, 8 academy players, 5 guys here that have Wikipedia pages. So we'll start with the midfielder number 16, Jack Scahan. 20 appearances so far with the Quakes first team. He was the 27th pick in the 2020 draft. So that's number 15, Jack Scahan. Number 20, the midfielder Will Richmond, 2 appearances with the Quakes first team last season. So be looking for 16 and 20 in the midfield as impact players. Then we know this name, forward number 25, Oseni Buda, 17 appearances for the Quakes last year. He's the forward that was subbed in and drew the penalty in San Jose against Nick Lima last year. I believe that was their first of 2 goals to equalize in that match. He was the 8th pick in the 2022 Super Draft. So Buda, it kind of, I think, bouncing in between the 2 teams this year. Certainly the most talented on paper player here for Quakes 2. 41, goalkeeper Emi Ochoa, has represented both the Mexican and U.S. youth national teams throughout his young career so far. Looks like he's been splitting time with the other keeper on their roster, though, so no guarantee that Ochoa gets into the game here. And then number 77 on defense, Casey Walls. Casey Walls. Austin fans might know this man.
Oh,
15 games with Austin Bold in 2021 on loan. He's a San Jose homegrown, but made his professional debut with Austin Bold. So a little bit of a homecoming for him here in terms of his career. But those are some of the guys we should be looking out for.
Stupid name.
Well, so looking at what we had on Sunday against Colorado, right? It was pretty much the full strength 11 there. We saw Micah Burton back with the team. He got into the match. What do you think we see tomorrow night? Is it more of the same, or we had David Rodriguez out there on the road in Seattle. CJ Fodre was out there. Kip Keller was out there. Do you think we see any surprises here? What do you got for us in FCito tomorrow night?
Well, first, I just want to say congratulations to David and CJ. I didn't get to say that earlier when we brought them up, being pulled up for the main squad here. So congratulations to both those young men. Keep going, dudes. It's just a matter of time till they crack our lineup at some point. So I'm excited for those guys. Excited for the team here, right? Coming off our first loss.
Yeah.
In a game that we played a very good squad, but I think we outplayed them throughout the course of that game. And you got to bounce back here. You got a team coming into town. We haven't dropped a game here at home. So I think you'll probably see the rotation. Oh, man, it's tough, though. It's tough because, I don't have the experience trying to figure out how coach is going to navigate this very dense portion of our schedule here on top of the injuries that we've been dealing with. But I would like to see, David start and play. I think that he should. Up front, it's AOC. There's no competition there. It's probably the only spot where we don't have multiple guys we can rock with. I think EJ starts here. Unless I'm
CJ?
Yes. For CJ on the other side. Bobo, I would love to see start. I would like to see him with Valentine. Obviously, we know the connection between Valentine and Jackson Valti. Jackson, the grill master. I'll have to send him some vegetarian recipes so he can become a more elevated human. Mazzaferro, Keller in the back. Captain Joe, for sure. I love me some Captain Joe. The name of the guy that we rotate with Asensio is escaping me right now.
Check Touré.
Yes. Okay. I like Check Touré in the back there as well. I think he provides a little bit of speed that we have taken advantage of a few times. So that's what I think we're rocking with. And I fucking love this team.
Another good thing about Czech is he can play both sides there. We've seen him fill in for Captain Joe as well. I think it'll be tough to see David and EJ start together unless we see something that we haven't seen yet. Yeah. Because I think both of those guys have been exclusively on that right side. But if there is a way to play both those guys, like I would like to see EJ get a start. I think he's been off the bench for maybe 3 matches in a row now, maybe even longer. Again, like you said, like there's almost at every position we're too deep and we're fine with whichever one of those options starts. I would not mind seeing Steve back in that midfield. I imagine he would come in probably for Grillmaster Valti. Again, I'm fine with either of those guys. But I think like you see, like the Pitt Panther connection obviously has been great for us. And then I also, like I mentioned last week, I think Steve and Bobo have also combined well when they've been out there together. So again, these are like good problems to have, for the first team or for FCito. So I guess only thing left to do, how much is Austin FCito destroying Quakes 2 by on Friday evening?
3-0, clean sheet for the last man. I think this team. Look, man, we've been fortunate enough to be featured on some Austin FCito content, and obviously there's clips and you can really just kind of take whatever fucking audio you want from this large database that you have from filming these guys all the fucking time. But I really just like the way that this team talks to each other. I like the way that Joe communicates with our boys and like lets them know that if we play our game, we come out, show who we are. We're good. We're better. We're better than these teams we're playing. So I think you're going to see a really strong response from this team. Get on the scoreboard early, maybe 2 goals in this first half, and then squeak one by later and 3-0 win in a pretty convincing fashion.
Love it. 3-0.
I mean, they haven't played an offense like ours. They let up 5 goals. You haven't seen us yet.
Yeah. We shall see. I am going to go 1-0 Austin. Okay. I think maybe there's something to only 12 total goals being scored in the 7 matches that San Jose has played. So I think maybe a little bit of more of a grind for us. But again, they've also only scored 7. So good luck getting past Damian Lass. And I think our guys do find a way to get it into the back of the net. So a little more muted for me. 3-0, way more fun. But give me the 1-0 here. And then let's close it out real quickly with the nonsense. We'll talk first about the week 13 betting picks, the midweek betting picks, which went okay. Not bad here, E. We did miss on, of course, the near perfect bet there, Seattle and plus 1.5 on the total, or over 1.5, on the total. So 3 total goals scored in that game, but Austin wins. So we don't give a shit. We'll pay $10 for the reverse jinx.
Fuck those units.
LAFC minus 1.5. They draw Sporting Kansas City last night. What's going on there? I mean, Sporting KC, maybe they're on a little roll here.
Just like 2 with these fuckers.
Yeah.
Blessing these squads.
Yeah. But we did hit perfect bet. Dallas minus 105. Actually, that was the reverse perfect bet. Or no, that was the perfect bet. We hit the reverse perfect bet on Minnesota minus 105. Toothless Houston attack last night. And Charlotte, even odds at home. Charlotte on a fucking roll right now. I think 8 wins for the Queen City. So plus 0.9 units on the week. Not really even making a dent. Minus 26.04 units. But look, you can't start a win streak without the first one. So let's see what we got here going into Saturday, going into week 14. E, I'll kick it to you. Start us off what is the first look on your Week 14 betting card?
You know where I'm going.
Yeah.
I'm going to the Verde and Black. I got them at minus 110. Toronto coming into town. Obviously, I've never predicted an Austin loss, and it's not starting this week. So lock it in. Austin minus 110, beating up on these Canadians.
What do you have to say to like our buddy Chris or our buddy Matthew on Twitter who are saying, look, keep fading Austin. You guys fade Austin, we win. What do you have to say to that?
Shut up, nerd.
Don't tell me what to do with my unit.
Yeah, shut up. These are my units.
All right, I'm going to go right back to a team I feel like I've bet on every single week this year, Philadelphia at home, hosting the New England Revolution. Minus 105 for Philly at home, one of the best home teams in the league over the last few years, getting them near even odds. Give me Philly. A lot of these teams are on a short week as well. New England last night did have a bye, so they're coming in a little bit more rested, but I'm trusting the depth of the Philadelphia Union here. Minus 105, lock it in.
I don't know if I like that one.
All right, well, it's my card, so
shut up, nerd. This is the unlosable bet right now. It's the perfect bet on steroids.
Okay.
We're taking Dallas minus 130 at home versus that putrid team from a little south of us, Houston. So you literally just can't lose this bet in any way, shape, or form. One of these teams going down. I guess if they drew.
Yeah.
Right? If there's a draw. But, yeah, lock it in. Dallas minus 130 versus a bad Houston club.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I think the perfect bet, maybe not bet, but perfect outcome there is just, meteor hits the stadium, both teams eliminated.
Wow.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
Countless deaths?
Cease to exist. No deaths. Just like you got to find
just picks them up and just takes them to a different universe. Everyone lives
to the moon. All right, look, let's get back on the rails here. Cincinnati, 7 games at home so far this season, 7 wins. It's an MLS record. Cincinnati, through their first 3 seasons, had 5 total home wins. Now 7 for 7 to start the year. They're at home again, hosting the Columbus Crew. Give me Cincinnati minus 115 at home. Lock it in.
Lock it in. I do like that one for sure. Going back to the Pacific Northwest here, as Austin is now the king of that territory.
Oh, yeah, we are.
Portland minus 110, playing a Minnesota team that is still without Emmanuel Reynoso. His situation is a bit murky, but please be ready to see him play versus Austin on the 31st, because that's what it's looking like.
Yeah, he's going to come in. He's ready for 90 minutes on that night.
Yeah.
Is that like a week and a half from now? Yeah, of course. Anyways, Portland minus 110. I like that. Evander been cooking. They're getting healthy. Yemi is back. So yeah, love that pick. And then I'm going to go for one underdog pick here this week. Give me Atlanta United on the road, taking on Chicago Fire up there in the Windy City. Atlanta's plus 200 here. Look, they just announced they sold Luis Araujo today, $10 million fee. So he's going this summer. That may affect his status for this game, but I don't much care. Thiago Almada should play here. And Yorgos, our boy, Yorgos Yakumakis, scored again last night. If you haven't seen that replay, go watch this man just sauce the shit out of the defenders and the opposing keeper for this 4th goal. Look, we're looking ahead to that transfer window for best ball. Yorgos, somebody certainly on our radar as a potential replacement for one of our forwards. We'll see. That's coming up in July. But speaking of best ball, again, Atlanta closing out the week 14 picks here. So he's got Austin and Portland minus 110, Dallas minus 130. I've got Philly minus 105, Cincy minus 115, Atlanta on the road plus 200. Taking a look at best ball. So we did have week 12 finalized after last episode. North End Podcast taking down week 12, 53 points. Moon Tower in second with 49. And looking at the standings after that, North End Podcast climbed up into second position for the first time this year. And then Wednesday happened. Right after we recorded Sunday night's episode, we took a look at the schedule and we realized we have no keepers for this round. So instant 0 at the keeper position for us. But the team fought valiantly. You get 9 out of Kai Wagner. You get 5 out of Rigoni. He led our midfielders there. Ryan Gold with the DNP out of nowhere. That kind of sucked. Taxi Funtas hurt again. So hopefully he comes back soon. 6 from Insigne, 6 from Cucho. 30 points on the week with that 0 in the keeper spot. Third place on the week was Moon Tower. They struggled a little bit as well. Buys for Carlos Heel, Jeremy Abobasi, DNPs from Romel Kyoto and Lewis Morgan. So 38 points for Moon Tower on the week. We are Austin TV, jumping back into second place overall, 47 points. We'll be back, boys. We got a lot of games coming up.
All they need is us to not have keepers.
Yeah, for sure. They get 9 points from their keeper, Sean Johnson, who we will see on Saturday. They get 9 from Almada, 7 from Zelarayan, 14 from Jesus Ferreira. Brace last night for Jesus. But there's one team I have not mentioned yet, and they get their first win on the season. Hey. Texas Ring of Fire with 48 points, thanks to the Cincinnati stack that finally pays off. 10 from Brandon Vasquez, 10 from Lucho Acosta, and then Philly with that clean sheet. Andre Blake with 10, 48 points on the week for Texas Ring of Fire. So congrats to RB, week 13, getting his first victory for his club. 608 total points for Moon Tower there in first. We are Austin TV back into second, 563. We are in third with 548. RB, 531 there for Texas Ring of Fire. So game week 14 upon us in about 48 hours. Looking forward to everything that comes with that, but especially being back with our friends at Q2, our soccer church, as our buddy Jeremiah coined it, preseason. Anything else for you before we get out of here? Nearly 90 minutes on the midweek episode.
Just looking forward to seeing everybody at the stadium on Saturday, baby. Let's get this done. 3 points. Start moving in the right direction.
Oh, one thing we didn't even talk about. Finally, negative tests for E. Confirmed in on Saturday. Finally back at Q2. And we'll be there a lot over the next couple weeks. And I guess last thing I'll say before we get out of here, there is a ticket giveaway coming up for a first team match. So be on the lookout on our socials for that. Of course, we will talk about it on an upcoming episode as well. But if you're still with us here, almost an hour and a half in on the Thursday, May 18th episode 56 of the North End podcast, we greatly appreciate you. And if you've got 5 seconds to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast, wherever you get your podcast, we would also appreciate that extra effort. And if you're watching on the YouTube channel, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell to know when a live stream pops up or a new episode goes live. And of course, on this video, hit the like button, hit the thumbs up on episode 56. Help us battle the YouTube algorithm overlords. Atone for your sins. Wash yourselves clean in the confetti of the North End. We will be back on Sunday recapping Austin FC's matchup against Toronto. We will be back recapping Austin FC 2's conquest over Quakes 2. You can feel it in your bones. And previewing the Open Cup match on Wednesday and everything else that comes along with a Sunday evening episode. Appreciate you tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your week. We will see you all at Q2 on Saturday. Until then, he's E. I'm Zach. Vamos Austin FC, everybody. Goodbye.